if you're a problem drinker, like I was, heavy drinker, alcoholic, sober curious, you need to listen to this about anxiety, because anxiety for me was probably the worst symptom of alcohol withdrawals and such like, until I got very ill physically, because anxiety is mental health, isn't it? Now, even when I was very young, I actually drank because I felt less social anxiety. So when I was about 15, 16, I hadn't really had much to drink. I'd had a couple of drinks with my dad one time on a holiday, but I went to this party and a few drinks, and I thought, wow, I'm confident now. I can dance, I can talk to girls, I can just feel myself, be myself, I suppose. I was pretty shy as a child. My girlfriend wouldn't believe that, but never mind. And as soon as I got this alcohol, this drug of choice as it were, I thought, wow, I'm in the game here, like the other, maybe fitter, older lads. And it was my passage to freedom, really, and growing up quickly. So really quite early on, I was drinking to feel better, and I enjoyed it. There's no two ways about it. You know, if I ask people, it's a daft question, why do you drink so much? Because I enjoy it. And the problem comes when you get to the point of drinking, enjoying it for a short time, but also being aware that it's doing you harm. That's the area of the problem. So I used to drink it to release the anxiety of social events, especially. Or even when I was on my own, I lived on my own. And when I joined the police, it was a big culture of drinking then, going back a few years. And we used to drink to unwind for special occasions, just because it was a Monday, any excuse really. And in time, I drank a bit more and a bit more. I mean, I had to quell it at times when I was working. I didn't drink on duty or anything. But I used to have a social drink most of the time. I got used to it. It was a habit and became an addiction in the end. But the withdrawals were pretty bad for me. I used to say to people, do you not feel rough, you know, after nights drinking? Oh no, I feel right. I feel right as rain. And I thought, well, I don't. I always felt tense, slightly worried about things. And this sort of crept up over time, over a few years, and I was confident still then, but I used to think, wow, I've had a bit too much to drink. I don't feel positive anymore. I felt a bit negative. And the anxiety took over my life in a way, and I thought, wow, I don't really fancy getting on an underground train. A bit too crowded and all this sort of thing. I don't know where that came from. And then I wouldn't like to drive too far, too long a distance, especially on main roads or straight roads. I used to have this thing in my mind, if I'm on maybe a B road, I can turn off or call in somewhere if I felt unwell. And then my ex-wife used to have to drive a bit more, which caused a bit more tension. And then I became anxious about social situations. And if we went out together, which was rare really, used to go to the odd works too. I used to have a few drinks before I went, go to a wedding or something. And then I'd drink all the time we're there. And then obviously I used to have a few drinks when I came home, and it just built up over time. And anxiety was the main pressure on me. I felt like a pressure, yeah. And I felt I couldn't do the things that I used to be able to do. Like just go for a walk, to the dog out. And my days off I used to try and counterbalance that by drinking more. Which, as you know, makes it even worse, doesn't it? So driving was a problem, public transport was a problem. And with work I used to have to stop drinking way before I went to bed, even before the next shift. And I used to wake up, and I didn't sleep very well with the anxiety, you know. It was on my mind, oh, I hope I'm going to be all right, I'm not going to be able to drink, or I had to plan ahead a bit. And if I ever came up north to visit parents, I used to have a few bottles of stash in the back of the car, which we used to take into the spare bedroom, or went to a hotel, we always had some in the car. And it was a case of I've got to have a supply, in case I get this anxiety, in case I can't walk around the supermarket. And it got so bad that I couldn't get on the underground. I used to drive in part of the way to work and get a bus. So it took twice as long to get to work. And then the withdrawals became worse, and it all sort of rolls into one thing. And then you become dependent on it to make you function, really. After I retired from the police, I then drank a lot more, and more time, didn't I? No responsibility. Split up with my partner, and then I was anxious about everything, about seeing people, about opening posts. I never used to drive or to get a taxi. I was hiding things from my parents, from my daughter, from the friends I had, and I became friends with people who just were the same as me, these big drinkers. I used to sometimes walk around the supermarket and feel as though I was going to fall over. I never did. And I used to walk in and start to shake. I don't know whether it was anxiety or withdrawals or what, but the withdrawals got much, much worse over time. And it's now incredible that I can just do the small things. I can get on a train. Me and my girlfriend go on holiday. We can fly. We can drive together and go and see my dog. I'm going to see my daughter in Manchester anytime I like. I can jump in the car. I can pick people from the airport anytime, 24 hours a day. I'm available. I'm not anxious. In the past, if I had something, when I was drinking, if I had something, say a wedding on the Saturday, I used to plan a week before what I was going to do. I think, well, I'll have a few drinks Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, then I'll try and cut down a little bit Thursday and Friday, but I'll have to make sure I get up early on the Saturday morning before the wedding, so I'll have a few drinks before we get there. I'm going to feel so rough. I used to know how I was going to feel, so I predict how bad I was going to be. And you become trapped by the anxiety and how you're going to feel. And you really want to be yourself. You can't get back to being yourself. So after a few episodes of this, I eventually got some help from a doctor. I got some diazepam, which was basically, I was told, alcohol in liquid form. It calms you down, stops you having a seizure, because prior to that, I stopped suddenly. I had a seizure. I was very wary of that. All that did was increase my anxiety. Got these pills and I came off the anxiety. It just disappeared within days. It's quite incredible, because I speak to some people who've got anxiety and they say it lasts for years even after the stop. With mine, it was quite quick. And I did that 3 or 4, I think it was 4 times I came off the alcohol and always relapsed. Until I was off for 8 years, between 2006 and 2014. 2014 I drank again because of personal reasons with some woman I met. I didn't drink a lot, but it caught up with me pretty badly, and I was stuck in this cycle of drinking 24 hours a day, really, just to stay alive. That's what I thought I was doing. I was actually killing myself. I couldn't speak to anybody. I hardly ever went out, apart from just get a taxi to the local pub now and again, just to get out of the flat. I was trapped. My life just took a downward spiral, huge downward spiral, very, very quickly. And I got more and more anxious and less able to get help. Couldn't get any diazepam from anywhere. I was drinking myself to death. So when you start to feel any sort of anxiety, any withdrawals, anytime you feel you've got to have a hair of the dog just to get somewhere, or just to do something, like you're in a mess. You need help then. Don't let it get any further, because then it'll start to affect you physically. And you get all sorts of problems. You get pancreatitis, you can get high blood pressure, cause strokes, heart attacks, as you know, you can get liver disease, you can get something called endopathology, which is a brain problem. There's all sorts of things linked to alcohol, linked to various types of cancers, minor accidents. I spoke to my friend earlier who's had a bad fall, and she's had a little bit too much to drink. She fell over on the dance floor, broke her ankle in 3 parts. She's in her mid-50s, going to take a long time to heal. All of these sorts of things are related to alcohol. It's a massive, massive problem in this country. I think it's worldwide, but this country is pivotal at the moment. That's where we are, isn't it, at the moment? The US is bad as well. So it's a killer. And when you start to feel that, to me, anxiety was the one trigger. I'll tell you the one trigger, the one symptom that I should have recognised, but didn't know anything about it, really. Because you concentrate on your physical health, how you look, how you feel, but in your mind, I was so anxious of everything. I couldn't even speak to the postman. I was writing to him letters. I became, a mouse of a man, really, to be fair. Running away from everything. That's the best way I can describe it. In the normal day-to-day task, just popping down the shops, you couldn't do. It now feels a pleasure for me to just nip the supermarket. Because I was trapped in a flat for years. Absolutely hideous life. So watch out for anxiety. It's a horrendous problem. It really is. Get some help. Speak to me. Speak to other people who are doing this sort of thing. Speak to the NHS, support groups, all that sort of thing. There is the AA. Didn't do much for me, but it's there and it works for a lot of people. I also do some one-to-one support. If you're interested in that, I've got an ebook as well, and the link is in the description. So if you have any comments, any questions, don't do it alone. You can't do it alone. It's a team effort on here, and we're here to support each other. And if you want to get sober, I'll help you with it. And that's why I'm here, to help people, guide people. And I don't want anybody to be in the situation I was in 2019, when I was told I may die, because that is not a good place to be. Any issues, drop me a line. Speak soon.